before we actually proceed to creating our virtual machine that we will use for hacking, I believe most of you are wondering, why Linux? Why are we installing a Linux operating system on a virtual machine? Can't we hack using Windows or Mac OS? Well, yes we can, but Linux is something far better for that. So what are the benefits of using Linux? First thing that's great about Linux is that it is an open source operating system. This means that we can inspect the code of it and see how it is made and what programs or functions it runs. It can be used for any type of work, not only for hacking. Many programmers also use Linux. Many servers all around the world are running on Linux. And another great thing about it is that most of the Linux distros are free of cost. Maybe some of you have heard about Ubuntu, Linux Mint, or Debian. Well, to use an updated Windows operating system, you must pay for a license. Linux, on the other hand, is free to download for anyone. And not only that, but it also, due to it being an open source, it allows the users of Linux to edit, copy, or distribute various aspects of Linux-based operating system without violating any copyright law or terms and conditions. This is one of the main reasons hackers use Linux, because they can easily develop softwares used for hacking and penetration testing on Linux, and they can change and edit the operating system for their needs. It is also very light, requires lesser disk space, consumes lesser RAM in order to run, so it can be easily ran alongside any other operating system like Windows and Mac OS. And last but not least is that, as we mentioned, due to Linux being an open source and allowing anyone to change and interact with the operating system, it allows people to create an operating system that will specifically be made for one purpose, such as, for example, ethical hacking or penetration testing. And Linux distros like this already exist. There are Linux distros called Kali Linux, Parrot, Backtrack, and others that are especially made for penetration testing and checking for security loopholes. And all of them are widely being used by hackers. And in this course, we will be using Kali Linux, one of the Linux distros specially created for hackers and penetration testers. What's great about it is that it automatically comes after installation with a bunch of different tools used by penetration testers for hacking. And we're going to cover those tools and go step by step through them. Plus, we'll be installing tools created by other people, and at the advanced parts of this course, we'll be creating our own hacking tools. How cool will that be? So now that we know exactly which Linux distro are we going to install and what are the benefits of using Linux, welcome back. So we have talked about virtualization software and Kali Linux in the previous lecture, and now is the time that we finally start creating our virtual machine. Now, to do that, remember, we need two things. We need the virtualization software and the operating system that we're going to install. So for the virtualization software, we will use VirtualBox. Now, to navigate to VirtualBox page, you can simply just type VirtualBox in your Google search bar, or you can simply just navigate to the link virtualbox.org. Once you navigate to that link, it will open this page where you will be prompted to download the newest version of VirtualBox, which is currently 7.0. Now, the one that we use in the course is, I believe, 6.0, but feel free to download the newest version at the point of you watching this tutorial. If there is, for example, VirtualBox 7.2, feel free to download the newest version. Okay, so to download it, we simply click on this Download VirtualBox, and we will have several options here depending on the operating system that our host machine is running. Now, since I'm on Windows 11, I will click on Windows hosts, but if you're on Linux, you would go with Linux distributions. For Intel Mac OS, you would go for this, but since I'm using Windows 11, I will click on Windows hosts. Now it will ask me where do I want to store this VirtualBox installation file. I already have it downloaded, it's on my desktop, but for you, simply just save it wherever you want and click on save right here. Once you have the VirtualBox installation file downloaded, you want to navigate to Kali Linux official page to download the Kali Linux operating system. To do that, once again, simply just type Kali Linux in your Google search bar or navigate to the website kali.org. Once we visit the website, we will be prompted with a simple description of the Kali Linux operating system. So, as it says right here, Kali Linux is an open source Debian-based Linux distribution geared towards various information security tasks such as penetration testing, security research, computer forensics, and reverse engineering. If I simply click on download, it will lead me to the download page for Kali Linux, where we will have several different options that we can choose from. Now, the one that we want to use for the course is the installer images. The virtual machines one will work as well, but if you want to have it exactly as we do in the course, you want to go with installer images. So I'm going to click on installer images, and here we get the newest version, which is Kali Linux 2023.2. Once again, we're using the older version in the course, but if there is a newer version available compared to this 2023.2 at the point of you watching this tutorial, feel free to download the newest Kali Linux version, since we always create update videos for the newest Kali Linux versions. The current one is once again 2023.2, and I want to download the 64-bit installer image. Now you will notice right here that there are three options, which is 64-bit, 32-bit, and Apple Silicon, which is for M1 and M2 chip for MacBook. Now, since my host machine is Windows 11 64-bit, I will select 64-bit and download this installer. Just by clicking on it, it will open this window for you to download it. I already have it downloaded, same as VirtualBox. I have it saved on my desktop, but for you, simply just click on save, and it will start downloading your Kali Linux ISO image. If you are on a 32-bit system, you simply select 32-bit, and for anyone using a MacBook on M1 and M2 chip, which is Apple Silicon, select here, Apple Silicon, and select the installer image, which will work on M1 and M2 chip. Now, one more thing for users that are on Apple Silicon, if you are using the MacBook with M1 or M2 chip, VirtualBox will cause issues for you. As you notice right here, there is not macOS M1 and 2 chip installation package for VirtualBox. So for you, you want to navigate to getutm.app and you want to download the UTM, which is a virtualization software for Mac. This will work for you, and it is rather simple to install and use. Now, if you are on Intel Mac, or if you have Intel processor in your MacBook, feel free to go with the regular 64-bit installer image as everyone else. So once again, Windows users, 64-bit or 32-bit, depending on your architecture. Mac Intel users also use 64 or 32-bit installer image, and M1, M2 chip MacBook users navigate with Apple Silicon and download that image. Now, if you for whatever reason want to download an older version of Kali Linux, you can navigate to this webpage, which is all.kali.org, navigate to base images, and here you will have all the previous Kali Linux releases that you can download. But I always do advise that you go with the newest version of Kali Linux at the point of you watching the tutorial. Okay, so once you download these two files, you should have this VirtualBox installer and you should have this Kali Linux ISO image. In the next lecture, we're going to take a look at how we can create our first virtual machine with VirtualBox.
Thanks for watching the video till the end. Please leave your thoughts below so we can discuss more about the topic. If you'd like to suggest a video that could help the community, feel free to message me on X or Instagram. We also share short videos on Instagram, so make sure to follow us there. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and might even create a video based on your suggestion. Thanks again for being part of our community. See you in the next video.